Hello, and of course, I'm here with a new book review as well as some exciting news. Um, First of all, the book that I'm reviewing is Origin by Jessica Croy. That's how I'm going to pronounce it. The cover is quite striking. Um, it's really just, whew. Okay, this is a fantastic novel. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. Um, if you've ever read like 1984, like like kind of what that did for big government, in that it kind of scared us a little bit about what would happen if the government seized control of every part of your life, how much you exercised, who you married, everything. Well, this book does that for genetic engineering and things like that, and science, basically. It literally scared me to death. Because what would happen, because in today's society, let's face it, a lot of people are losing their moral upbringings and religious views, and they're kind of losing sense of what's right and what's wrong. And the further this goes on, at the same time, we have scientific advancements that are allowing us to do things that we couldn't have done 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago. And it's causing such a drastic change in medicine, and which, don't get me wrong, cures are great for illnesses. I mean, they're great. But what if we got to a point in our lives where we were willing to murder people to get those cures? Like, we literally spilled their blood to get the cures. We killed them just to dissect them. What would we be like if we, as a society, we got to that point? That's what this book addresses. And it is a completely enrapturing book because there is a love story behind it. Just like with 1984, there was a love story in that. In this one, though, this has a happy ending. 1984 is kind of like left us hanging. This, not so much. There is parts that made me want to cry. But, for the most part, this was a happily ever after type ending. And I don't want to give away too much of the plot, but so people who don't want spoilers, like, cut off now. It's a good book, pick it up. Okay, for the people who don't mind spoilers, it's about this girl, and she is born perfect. In other words, she is immortal, and scientists have engineered her to be that way. You can't puncture her skin, bruises disappear quickly. She can run faster. The only thing that, like, really hasn't changed is that she's not, like, super strong, but she can jump 6 feet into the air, and her reflexes are a lot quicker than, like, those of a cat. She doesn't know how she came into being, and her greatest goal in life is to get a male counterpart next, just like her, so that she won't be alone. Because right now, I mean, if you're immortal and there's nobody else like you, you're going to feel a little bit weird. Well, throughout the course of the book, she ends up falling in love with a mortal, and she finds out some disturbing practices that's going on in this little scientific lab where she has basically spent her entire life. And her mother betrays her, and her father kind of lets her go, and then her favorite uncle actually has a few surprises in his closet. And the man that she looked up to for years ends up betraying her, and she comes to see him as like a brainwashing, immoral monster. And it was completely fascinating. I absolutely loved the book. I mean, it was just great. It was one of those great reads. I really loved 1984, and for me, this is a book that is similar, but it brings questions to what would happen if we lost all of our moral values, or our scientists lost all their moral values and money was the only thing that mattered. And what would you do? I mean, it's really scary. And the hero in this, like, she has everything that a hero really needs. She's brave, she's selfless, she's loving. And then we have this. Oh, God, I gotta quit yawning. And then we have her male lead in the book, or male main character, who she falls in love with, and he is just the same type. I mean, it was amazing. The villains are dark. There are people in between. There are people who get stuck between a rock and a hard place, and then there are heroes. And some very sweet characters in the book as well. Now, on to my fantastic news. As some of you may know, I am a writer, and last year, around this time, I had a story published in Chicken Soup for the Soul 20th Anniversary Reader's Choice. Well, I have another story being published in Chicken Soup for the Soul, recovering from traumatic brain injuries, which will be discussing seizures and how people, well, specifically how a certain person in my life deals with them. So for all my Facebook friends, please pick that up when it comes out in June. And I'm super, super excited. I'm trying to get a couple of book signings going on here in West Virginia because we just don't see that many of them. And so, yay for me. I'm very happy. I'm super excited because I'm sure, like most authors or most writers know, you have to get published in order to get published. So, I'm pretty excited. This is my second one in 2 years. It's been like a year almost to the day because they both released in June. So it's kind of weird, but within a year span, I got 2 publications, so that's pretty good. I'm hoping I can get another one in before January of next year, obviously. So, but anyway, wish me luck. And as soon as I get my copies in May, because I got an email today saying that there would be 10 copies coming through, I will open the box on camera so that I can share it with all of you amazing YouTubers. So, yippee! And anyway, like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you soon with another book review.